I'm the Deputy District Director for the United States Small Business Agency Administration. And what we primarily do is we try to get all these guys to make loans to you. And the way we do that is that we either guarantee loans against default, so they want to do business with you because all of you as business people have fulfilled your requirements of the 5 C's of credit, right? So yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I want to make sure y'all in the right room because we got the remedial class down the street.
Okay.
Okay? We got the slow bus down there. This is for you guys that are going after real contracts that want us to show you where the money is.
Right.
Now, what SBA does, we have a loan limit of $5 million. All of these folks here are familiar with it, with the exception of one person. All the lending that we do here is pretty much guaranteed loans, with the exception of one person who's a truly economic development program, and I'm gonna let her talk about her program too. Okay? So with that being said, I'm gonna give them a couple of minutes to introduce themselves. They're gonna tell you what they do. I call it, this is my shameless plug, their free advertisement. Don't be afraid to ask the hard questions when we get through everything, because that's what we're here for. I don't want any, I'll start it off and get them rolling, but I'm gonna be reading all of you as the audience, and don't get all
Chris Johnson, I'm with Allies for Community Business. We are a micro-lending nonprofit. We do capital, coaching, and connections. Our primary goal is to look out for the Black and brown community. We're trying to create jobs and generational wealth, not only within the community itself, but amongst your families also. We are micro-lending, so we max out at 100,000. The biggest thing I like to brag about with us is we do not use the credit score whatsoever to evaluate you, so there's no tier rating whatsoever. However,
Excuse me, Chris, you said you don't use the credit score?
that is correct. If you want me to repeat that, I can.
Oh, no, I just want to make sure that if I interrupt you, that might be a bullet point. Some people may not say, oh, my credit is the worst, but they heard it. I just want to make sure that people who know they're kind of like iffy a little bit, where
Absolutely.
that character may be in doubt with those 5 C's of credit, which they all
got it.
explained they understood.
You
Okay,
got
I
it.
just want to make sure.
No, we do not. We threw it out. We don't want it to be a hinder in terms of it. But we will evaluate your credit. What we're going to look at is late payments, bankruptcies, collections, and available credit. And later on, I can get more specific. But those are the things we're going to kind of evaluate. We have 3 tiers. If you're a startup, you'll max out. If you're a true startup with 6 months or less banking, business banking, you'll max at 12.5. If you have more than 6 months but no reportable income, you'll max out at 25. And then if you have at least 1 year, hopefully up to 3 years of reportable income, then you can max out to the max of 100,000.
5,000? You said 5, as in 5,000?
20. I'm sorry, 25.
2,500?
Okay, I'll start over. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, for startups, it's 12,500. Okay, and that's with less than 6 months. For those who have been in business more than 6 months of banking, but you have not reported any income, you max out at 25,000. And then those who have at least 1 year, but up to 3 years, you're looking at, you can possibly get, or eligible up to the 100,000 max that we offer. We also do have what they call a credit builder. So when everybody else is saying absolutely no, we'll still be able to get you what we call a credit builder loan, which is $2,500. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is if you can't get a loan anywhere else for any other amount. And it'll also establish a relationship with us. And our goal, whether you get that loan or any loan with us, is to send you back to the banking world to make you bankable. In our coaching, we offer one-on-one coaching. And whether you're an ideal or you're an experienced or established business, We have different milestones to help you, including getting you NBE certified also. And then we also offer connections, so that'll be just other organizations, like these guys up here that we work with to help you depending on your business and your industry.
All right. Chris, thank you.
My pleasure.
Hey, Pam, take it away, young lady.
Great. So, good morning, everyone. I am Pam Randle with JP Morgan Chase, and I am within the business banking division. What we do is, of course, JP Morgan Chase offers products and services for the startup business as well as those really more sophisticated from a commercial banking perspective and international level. As far as an overview is concerned, one of the things I would love to highlight is our program, which was actually born in 2020, which specifically is designed to work with entrepreneurs that were in diverse communities that may not have had the same level of access to information as others. And so what the role was is to really work with you to provide the resources, information, opportunity, and potentially capital to really help you grow the size and scope so that you can hire more folks in the community and create a sustainable system. And so we've been doing this specifically since 2020 and partnering with other organizations with Allies for Community Business. We do a ton of work with them, but the goal is to ensure that every business owner has access to the same level of information and opportunities. And so we do partner with MBE for MBE certification as well, but again, this is within the umbrella of a traditional financial institution. So this particular group is not a sales group, so to speak. It really is around coaching for impact, and so we work with customers and non-customers alike.
Thank you, Pam. Tracy, batter up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tracy Kelly. I am with Wintrust Financial. I work out of the Beverly Group, so the South Side of Chicago, and I cover the Southland area. So I am a commercial lender, and I focus on all areas of business, but my main focus is working with our construction and engineering group. So we have a specialized group that knows the construction industry very well. We focus on whether you are a business with experience, so you've been in business or started your business just a few years ago, but you've worked in that market for some time. We're able to give you some coaching, some guidance, some resources that are available for you and help your business to grow. So we deal with all size businesses, from small to medium market businesses as well as large, with different focus areas such as our receivables funding, lines of credit, and equipment financing. Work with our SBA team, work with Allies on a regular basis, and other financial industries if we're unable to assist right away. We do some one-on-one coaching, consulting to make sure that you're on the right pathway. And if you need some resources such as great accountants for your specific industry, attorneys, as well as business consultants, we absolutely make those referrals to you as well.
All right. Kim.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kim Brisky, and I am the Director of Communications and Engagement at SomerCor. SomerCor is a nonprofit small business lender. We are certified by our friends at the SBA. The main reason I'm here today is to talk about the SBA 504 loan, which is the SBA's premier economic development program for small businesses. But I would be remiss not to mention that we do also administer 2 grants on behalf of the City of Chicago. I know everybody's ears perk up at grants, but they are very specific for targeted geographic areas and targeted reasons. So they're all about making permanent building improvements. This money cannot be used if just to do inventory or rent or things like that, not for working capital. It's for, let's say you are either the owner or you're even a tenant and your business needs a new storefront, new HVAC systems upgrades. If that's something you're interested in, you can come visit me at the table and we can talk more about that. But the main reason that I'm here today is to talk about the SBA 504 loan, which is a great program that helps small businesses purchase fixed assets. I'm talking about your land, your property, as well as heavy equipment. And the special thing about the program is you'll be able to put less money down, usually only 10%. And that's comparable to commercial loans where you could sometimes put as much as 25% down. So if you're keeping more money in your business, then you're able to continue to grow. Additionally, the interest rates are comparably lower right now, and the terms are as long as 25 years for commercial real estate. It's great if you're planning ahead. You're not going to have the balloon issues with your payments, so it's great for being able to plan ahead. Or if you have an interest in creating generational wealth in a family business, we have a lot of clients, actually, I think more than normal, that actually are family businesses passing it on to the next generation. I also have a lot of client stories who start in their garage and then when they're ready to grow, they're actually now, in a space, and they're actually able to personalize it to make it more efficient for them, more safe for their employees, but also to create maybe a new business avenue, new ways to create revenue. So I'm happy to dig in a little bit deeper about how the SBA 504 can help finance your small business.
All right, thank you. All right, Ron.
And my name is Ron Milsap. I'm the director of BMO's Zero Barriers to Business program. That's the program I'll speak to you guys most about today. BMO Bank is a well-diversified financial services firm with 200+ year history, founded in Canada. So you guys were familiar with Canadian bank, but we're the 8th largest bank in North America, a top 10 commercial bank in the U.S. I represent our business banking division, where we service businesses $10 million in revenue and less, and up to $1 million in debt. Our Zero Barriers to Business program came out of our BMO Empower. A lot of banks, Chase, BMO, we all made large financial commitments coming out of the pandemic and George Floyd, so a lot of banks made those commitments. We made a $5 billion commitment originally coming out of that, where we're going to invest in certain areas of our communities, particularly our underserved, underrepresented communities. And we've expanded that to over $40 billion commitment with our recent acquisition of Bank of the West. We now are in 32 states in the U.S., so we're increasingly becoming a national bank, but still a super large regional. Our Zero Barriers to Business program right now serves women in business, Black businesses, as well as Latino and Hispanic-owned businesses. So what is that? It is the bank with intention, from feedback from community stakeholders, developing a working capital program to support small businesses and help them along the growth path of getting more traditionally banked. So we partner closely with Allies for Community Business, and we have SBA back lending and all those things as well. But that program, the first loan is often the hardest loan. And oftentimes when we think about some of the traditional banking standards, the way you need to be with regard to collateral, personal credit, business credit, the gate can be kind of hard to kind of get through initially. So we size our risk to be able to get more clients, particularly those underrepresented groups that I spoke of, into our funnel. And through 3 years, we've been able to serve over 4,200 businesses and got $85 million out of the door so far and counting. We recently expanded our program from 8 states to 22 states, and we're going to be looking to add new segments to serve Asian, LGBTQ, as well as veteran-owned businesses. So looking forward to taking your questions and hearing more about that program. But obviously we want to get you in the door, get you started, but then ultimately see you grow to more specialized products, needs, and services.
All right, thank you. So now you've met our esteemed panel. So with that being said, I want to just ask all of you, how many of you are in business right now? How many of you are in the construction business? How many of you are here to just find out, show me the money? Okay. That gives me an idea of what's going to be necessary. And everybody's cool with the 5 C's of credit. I didn't want to insult anybody, but this is, like I said, I'm looking for you guys to grow your business, not just start up. If you got a startup, you can come talk to me personally and I'll get you to the right spot. Just to start up too, but these folks here are going to show you where the money can be used and applied. So think about your questions. I'm going to throw them a question that kind of loosen them up a little bit, get them in the flow, so when you're ready to flow and go, they can show you what they know, okay? All right, so with that, all right, for the panel in general, briefly tell the audience 2 essential tips that face businesses when seeking capital or a loan. And don't everybody answer me at once.
Two of the things that I've run across when working with businesses is making sure that you have the proper resources, and the resources are the people in which you're working with. So your accountant or bookkeeping has to be in order. Your financials are important. And it's not just about having someone doing your financials, but understanding where your financials are. So making sure you have the proper accounting system in place for your business so that you are identifying the transactions that are taking place and they are properly aligned, so that when they're being presented to a bank or an organization for financing access, that information is accurate and can be utilized at its best for that access to capital that you need to grow your business. The second thing is just your credit. As a business owner, you're going to guarantee the finances for your business. So although you're building your business credit, and it is important for your business to create that credit, it's also important for you to make sure that your credit is still aligned and in order, and that you're not neglecting it. As business owners, we always start out by funding our businesses through our own personal credit, but at some point you need to separate that funds from your business and your personal, so that it can be identified as to what the business is taking care of from the ins and outs, and keeping your personal segregated, but keeping it strong enough to guarantee what the opportunities are for you.
I'll add one that I think is particularly important. Those that the points that she mentioned around having books in order and having your business and personal credit in order are absolutely essential. But then also understanding the sources of capital that are out there in terms of capital providers, and we're not all the same stripe. So really understanding the difference that banks play, that community development financial institutions play, understanding that there are, from a racial equity standpoint, there are different grant programs and things out there. The city has a number of great programs, NOF and Chicago Recovery Grant Fund. So really understand the landscape of what's actually in the ecosystem. So even if you're existing in business or looking to start business, you want to know that banks are not venture capitalists. We're not there to take the long risk. We're lending on cash flow performance. So having a track record and performance when you come into a bank looking to borrow is essential. And even at the early stages of borrowing, maybe it's a credit card. You're still going to want to have some financial projections to show the ability to repay that debt. It's a journey. Some folks are blessed with inheritance and other opportunities to accumulate assets and then get the power of leverage. But for a lot of us, we're starting from the basics of just understanding business and grinding. Like, I'm just out here, I'm going to make it happen. I got a resilience, I'm determined. But like, coming to things like this, who's familiar by show of hands of what a community development financial institution is? And do you understand the role that they play in the community in terms of access to capital?
Yeah.
Their express mission is 60% or more of what they do has to be done to serve low to moderate income communities. Some CDFIs are based on housing, and they really support housing. Some are based on small business, like our colleague all the way down to the end here. So just knowing that they could be a great bridge to then get you to a BMO or then get you to a Chase in terms of the next steps in the ladder of your relationship. And then we want you to know and understand that. Second is first is understanding the landscape, but second, probably almost foremost, is understanding relationship capital and actually building relationships with folks within these institutions, within these banks, branch managers. Even when you come into a branch, I think most folks just interact with that primary service rep that's handling their account. But how often are we venturing to understand how the bank is structured, and if I have a business, what representatives are there to actually help me or assist me in my business? We get paid to service the community. So in the banking institution, we don't charge fees to share knowledge, resource, and information. So understanding relationship capital and leveraging it, and also understanding the different capital sources that are out there, from grants to CDFIs to credit unions to banks, is highly important before you go seek funds.
Does anyone from the panel want to add to what Tracy and Ron has said?
I would just add
Thank
one.
you.
I just add just a couple things. One, I think it's important to understand when you're looking at borrowing, what exactly are you? Why do you need to borrow? And then two, what will that allow you to do, right? So is it going to then make, if you have access to this, will it make you more efficient from from the way that the business is run? Therefore, your cost and expenses are lower. Is this, the dollars, will it go specifically from an expansion standpoint to buy a new facility? If that in fact is the case, what will that do from a financial perspective? So to the other's point, just digging in a little bit deeper on the whys behind that. Why do I need to borrow, and what will that allow me to do? Helps you have a more robust conversation with, in fact, your banking partner. And then the other thing that I would say, and we've kind of faced this, is someone had mentioned in terms of understanding your relationship with your CPA, right? So having those great resources. Every successful business, at minimum, has a great relationship with their banker, their CPA, and their attorney. Oftentimes I hear folks say, well, I don't need an attorney because I'm not in trouble. Well, you should have that relationship so to avoid those particular things. So really making sure that as a business owner, you fully understand what the numbers actually mean. Your accountant can do a great job at preparing them. Oftentimes the financial institution will ask you, so what does this mean? And the best answer is not, well, my accountant put this there and this is the way it should be, right? So being able to speak to those numbers then helps, from a management credibility standpoint, helps the lender feel more comfortable in terms of the risk tolerance that they have.
Thank you. Hold on just a second. Everybody, I'm about to turn it over to you. Did everybody get all the points, the bullet points that they were talking about, like relationship management, leveraging that, sources, capital, which banks you're going to get it from? It's very, very important. I'm just saying. So
I just
with
want to
that,
reiterate one thing.
go
too,
ahead.
by the
Go
way.
ahead. I'm sorry, Chris.
And this is going to sound like a broken record because we've all said the same thing. And that's to track everything. You know, back in the days before we became so electronic, you used to write things in your checkbook.
Yeah.
And you balance to the penny. And when you didn't balance to the penny, it drove you crazy. In the business world, it's extremely important that you know where every dime is going. How can you make, or how can you pivot to know if your business is losing money, if you're gaining revenue? How can you know that if you don't even know where your money's going or where it's going? I just want to sound like a broken record when it may be tedious, but it's more important than you'll ever know, especially when you're trying to get financing.
Okay, with that, I'm going to just take this young lady first, and then you, sir, and then you, sir. Okay, we'll take four. Go ahead.
So my first question, I just have to, as a startup, I'm learning, it's almost information overload sometimes, but I'm really trying to focus on resources. So I want to be sure that, I'm already spending money for my business. It's a startup, so it's less than 6 months. Where can we get resources for attorneys and CPAs, accountants, and financial resources? So Natalie, you should be using this system to keep track of all the money that you're putting into your business, and this is how you do. Like, where do we go to get that information? Because I know there's attorneys everywhere, CPAs everywhere, but if, I'm just curious, since you guys are in the business of helping businesses, you might know of where I can go and get resources for attorneys and specifically like accountants, CPAs, and other services
Let me
related to
talk about that.
Go ahead, Kim.
So I would say a really helpful resource are your local chamber of commerce or other professional organizations. I work a lot with the National Association of Women Business Owners, NABO, and so you're already then part of a group that they have a member directory. So, and they all know each other. It's a lot harder to, I suppose, maybe not do your best work if it's with somebody that you know face to face, you network with all the time, and there's going to be automatically like a little bit of an unspoken agreement of how you guys are going to be able to work together. Other options are joining cohorts that they have. I know Allies has cohorts. Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business has cohorts. I think my brain is forgetting us, but there are lots of.
SBA,
Oh yeah, of course, the
Thrive,
SBA.
Hazard
Oh yes,
Cohort,
Thrive, that's right,
Which we're
Ascent.
getting ready to start
Yes.
a new class for all you
Of
folks
course.
that want to grow to the
That
next
too.
level.
Those are all great, and also if you're trying even to like get your hands around just like what resource do you need, I think connecting with SCORE, which partners quite a bit with the SBA, it's a national mentoring program, and then you'll be able to connect with someone who maybe is familiar with your line of work, your particular industry, because maybe what you're doing, I remember the Tea Party is very specific, like, you know, like, and so maybe there's food and service, event planning, retail that can work specifically with you on that.
Yeah.
Also, with all of my CEOs here, we had a small business development center network here in Illinois. We have 38 organizations, small business development centers with 41 locations all over the state of Illinois. They're there to help you, where you can go ahead and get those access to where can I find accountants, or how do I read a financial statement, or should I be doing the business plan, what do I do with a growth plan, that sort of thing. Was someone on the panel going to add something?
I'll give you something very specific. Shy Biz Hub, we'll
Yeah.
write that down. That's a coalition of 50 nonprofits. It's a great, and when I say nonprofit, that means most of those services are going to be free about me. So I know that's important. But they're going to give you a lot of resources in terms of, depending on where you're in your business also, whether you're in an ideal stage like startup, or even if you're in a more established business. So you want to use that, they'll have a lot of resources. And of course, as they mentioned, we do have a coaching arm at Alliance for Community Business, where we'll do a business assessment to kind of see where you're at, and then through the resources we have or the clients we have, we'll also refer you guys out to those different resources that you.
All right.
Can I just add one quick thing?
Okay,
So,
go ahead.
you know, never underestimate the power of networking, right? So if
That's
you're
right.
in a room with other business owners that are, you know, that are already established, it doesn't hurt to just ask them in terms of, you know, one, you want to find out, you know, are you happy with, you know, your accountant or your attorney or things like that, just to start collecting information. You still got to do your due diligence, but never underestimate the power of networking with other business owners.
I also want to add too, this is so simple, by the way, you guys. When you need your car fixed, a lot of times you're going to ask your buddy or your friend, where do you get your car fixed? When you need your hair done, when you need a good restaurant. So you have people that's already doing the business. Look at their resources. These are people they trust, they put their money and their time into. And it can be as simple as that sometimes until you grow, and then you may need other resources.
All right. The CEO right here had a question for us.
I'm gonna stand up because I want everyone in this room to know who I am. I am your accountant. I'm your accounting firm. I am the person that's gonna help you understand your financials. Okay. You can find us at downtownlooptaxes.com, downtownlooptaxes.com. You can find us on Instagram at downtownlooptaxes. We were recently recipients of the Community Development Grant by the City of Chicago, so the city is investing 75% in our office, so they believe in our mission. We are where creatives go for taxes, but if you're looking to sit in front of these people and be able to articulate your numbers to them and understand your financial statements, you need to connect with me. That is our mission. We want you to be able to sit in front of them and understand your financials and have the financial literacy. And we created our firm for people just like you. We want to bridge that gap that our business owners, our biopic business owners, are understanding their financials, understanding their numbers. Downtown Loop Taxes, downtownlooptaxes.com. My name is Stephanie Blakely. We are here for you. We are BMO bankers, by the way.
I need you to sit downtown. I'd be remiss if I don't get this CEO back here. He's been sitting, you know, he looks like he's got some dynamite questions.
So, I have a question for the lady general counsel that spoke on 504, and then also
Right here.
a representative from
Kimberly,
JP Morgan.
and that would be Pam.
Okay.
So, the question I have for you is, you said that you do, or assist with SBA 504 loans. The question I have is, are they still counting hotels? I'm a Marriott hotel owner. Are they still counting, and a restaurant owner, are they still counting hotels as specialty real estate and making that 15% down?
I would say, excuse me, we are internally still treating it differently, the hotels, just because of the NASIX code, it is still a higher risk industry. But I would say still, it's gonna be better than what you're gonna get conventionally. But come talk to me and I can connect you with one of the loan officers afterwards and we can see where we are specifically.
Sounds good. And when you presented, you didn't speak to your cap. We're building a hotel in downtown Chicago. We need $170 million. So
Wow.
You didn't say if the cap was. I know you said it was $10 million. I believe was a floor.
No, I think I was representing the size of revenue for business banking, but understand we do have.
No, but I
commercial
mean, I was
banking.
speaking to
Okay.
the person from JP Morgan
Yeah.
Chase. Did you?
Right, because we have different business tiers, whether it's a small business, middle market, or commercial, we would just simply partner with commercial banking, for example, that, would evaluate a deal like that. So, and we have great relationships with commercial. In fact, they have a diverse women and veteran-owned business section that I partner very closely with for larger, transactions.
So I'll speak to you after. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. And my other CEO right here, last question for right now. Go ahead, sir.
Wintrust. So in regards to financial statements, when it comes to balance sheets, P&Ls, do you guys require them to be audited by an accountant, or you just require the business owner to know? Because I do my own, because I have a background in operations. So I do my own P&Ls, I do my own balance sheets, I do my own tracking.
God bless you. Because there's a lot of us out here that don't do that.
Right.
As I think Ron or Chris said, we're still checkbook accountants. That's the difference between do we supersize tonight or do we eat a fogo de chao, okay? So at least you understand it. So ladies, gentlemen, panel.
That's a layered question, and it's specific to your business industry, the type of lending product or service that the bank offers. It could definitely range where, even if you're doing your own kind of QuickBooks, for example, right? You're providing us your balance sheet, income statement out of an accounting-based system. We're still probably going to want a couple of years of tax returns to see that those tax returns line up to the books that you're preparing yourself internally. And then once you get to a certain revenue threshold and or lending threshold, that's when the game goes up from compilations to audits, right? So you could talk to the bank about that. Oftentimes in business banking space, compilation is probably sufficient. We do still want you working with a bail team. I think somebody said, Pam said, like, you want to have this team, before you get in trouble, right? A bail team. What is a bail team? It's your banker, it's your accountant, it's your insurance agent, and it's that legal component, right? That you have those things firmly as a part of your team even before you encounter any trouble. So even though you have that expertise, there's still that additional credibility that's brought by working with the vendor that's also helping you, even if it's just the end of the year tax thing, where you're taking your internal books and you're giving to your and I tell people, don't just have a tax preparer. Have a coach. Have somebody that's going to tell you, like, if you just drop them off the receipts, prepare my tax statement, but you don't get any understanding. And oftentimes our underrepresented businesses, they go in with the mindset, how can I save as much? And I get it. How can I, take advantage of as much loopholes? How can I write off as much expense? But when banks can even CDFIs are looking at cash flow and your ability to service debt, the more things that you write off, the less net income that you actually show, and it caps the ability for you to scale and grow your business and use other people's money.
Cash flow is king.
And I just did a YouTube video on that. If you go to our YouTube channel, downtownlooptaxes.com, I speak to the power of the tax return when it comes to accessing capital. So if you go to our YouTube channel, I speak to that, and when you need certified financial statements. So if you go to our YouTube channel on downtownlooptaxes.com, I answer your question.
It's just more about auditing, because I go through it. I have a lawyer, I have an insurance agent, I have an accountant, but everything goes through me. to them.
I'm a former auditor, so.
So it's more about the audit part, you know,
Okay.
when presenting them financial statements, the P&Ls, the balance sheets, are you looking for them to be audited by a CPA? Because audits are expensive.
Yes, they are.
Very, very, very expensive.
It depends on what you're requesting.
Yeah.
Every deal is very different. Every industry is different. So it depends on where you are in your business, the level of access that you're asking for. Are we talking 400,000 or 500,000? Are we talking 10 million? You know, the things that are being requested is going to vary based on that. It is structured and tailored on the business, what the request is, and how your financials are presented, and your knowledge and ability to address the financials that you are providing to us.
All right.
What Kim had mentioned,
go ahead.
with, cash being king, I just wanted to, I have like a little twist on that. I usually say cash is queen.
Oh, no,
so-
it's true, that's true. It's true, but if I had my slide up here, I usually have a slide just talking about cash flow and understanding, like, you know, I think there's a basic understanding of being like, if I wanna get capital out, are you able to service the debt you already have? Meaning like, and so that's one of the C's, which I know you all know about, but the capacity C, it's very important. So I'll let Mark go from
So
there.
let me just say this, since we're now on cash flow, because when I teach financing courses, I know everybody talks about net profit pays the bills. It's cash flow. So with that, I've got a cash flow question, if I can move on, because everybody's looking for how do I improve my cash flow for growth, correct? So with that, Hannah. For many small businesses, cash flow and access to capital are vital to their short-term and long-term success. What resources do your institutions have in place to assist small businesses in this current climate? Fair question, ladies and gentlemen? All right, you guys are on board.
Sure.
Everybody sneeze.
So it actually ties into the program that I talked about in the beginning. So as part of our specific business program, we do work with businesses from a coaching perspective to, one, understand what their needs are. So we conduct a SWOT analysis with them to figure out, okay, what are the strengths, opportunities, weaknesses and threats. And from a cash flow perspective, if it's maybe, what we are, the way that we're managing our business, cash flow is extremely tight and we don't actually have the ability to pay as quickly as we would like to. Or I'm not even sure what cash flow is. I look at my checking account and at the end of the day I have X dollars, and based upon what's there, then I assume that that is in fact available for me. So we have tons of tools that are actually, some of them are on our website for Chase for Business, where you can literally go in and it talks about the cash flow calculator, what is actually needed based upon industry, based upon risk. And then we also conduct presentations around cash flow management. So we will partner with a small business development center or nonprofit organization and become subject matter experts and present that material to them so that the business owner, and it's typically a workshop, so it may be, we've done as little as 15 business owners, and we've done a couple hundred business owners where there are workbooks that are given, and we literally help them walk through that particular process. And I'd be remiss to not mention, our, again, partnership with Allied for Community Business, because of the fact that they may be able to dig in even deeper than what we are specifically doing, and we may partner together on some transactions. But it's usually having that one-on-one conversation or discussion with the business owner, understanding what additional resources that they need, and then really educating them along the way. Here's the thing, though. One of the things that I've found time and time again is that we cannot want this for you more than you want this for yourself, right? So you got to be willing to do the work that is required in order to ensure that the business is engaged at a certain level.
I want to, maybe if you guys got time, you can maybe go to our website and look up that BMO Zero Barriers to Business program. You can go into Women in Business or Black and Latinx, and we have actually tools and calculators there available for you, all for free. So we have a free business plan template. We have a profit improvement calculator, so you can actually put in your business financials and see incremental steps that you can make to improve your profits. And then we also have a cash flow forecasting template tool that you can use to actually look at your cash flow, what's coming in, what's coming out, and be able to better understand when you need working capital or perhaps some debt that you need to take on to continue to grow the business. So, you know, that stuff is available. It's there for you free. And we also offer 30-minute coaching sessions that you can sign up through the program, so that even as you bring those tools into your workspace and try to understand them and understand them from like a banking lens, you can still connect with a banker and ask real questions. And really, it's like they're sitting here getting this information, but then there's like the takeaway. Like I got some really specific problems or issues I'm trying to address in my business, and I need an additional level of expertise and do a referral to the right person that can help me out. There's that technical part that a panel discussion simply won't always get at. So to that extent, connect with us, schedule a 30-minute coaching session, take advantage of those tools and templates. Once again, we get paid to actually help you.
Is that on the main BMO website?
Yeah, so go to BMO, go to our business banking, business lending, and then you'll find the zero barriers to business programs, and under those programs you can find all the resources that we make available for free. And you can sign up for our newsletter as well, and keep informed of any educational webinars, things that we're doing in the community. We partner with a number of organizations to just make sure we are educating our community more so than just selling them products and services.
You said zero barriers?
Zero barriers to business.
Okay.
I think it's helpful to actually just take a really almost micro look at your vendors. Making sure you're getting the best deal on all of your things. Have you talked to your vendors lately? Have you made sure that maybe your payment schedule to them is in line? Maybe if you need an extension, you can get that. Maybe there's a better deal out there that you can get. I would also talk to your customers. Are you making sure that they're paying on time? What's your customer base? Is your customer base over 50-60% of one customer that's really holding you up? Do you have a government contract, which can be great, but understanding how long do they take to pay? Make sure you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. These are all kind of things that if you adjust one way or the other, the knob, it can really impact what your cash flow looks like when you're looking to try to get capital. But I would say just don't be afraid to talk to the people that you do business with, either the ones that owe you money or that you owe money to. I think you should always be touching base with them all the time. Maybe there's a special going on you don't know about. Maybe there's something else, and there's some leeway if you have something big coming up. So just something to think about.
So we got the juices flowing. Kind of questions? Okay. I was going to say, what kind of cash flow questions? But you go ahead, Steve.
I have a question for the panel. My name is Kareem Kauser. I work with IFF. We're a CDFI. From an accessing capital standpoint, what is all of your perspectives? Is it more advantageous to establish my business as a nonprofit or for-profit?
I actually like this one, because I don't believe there's such thing as a nonprofit.
Me neither. Go ahead.
And to the extent that you operate with a mindset that thinks I'm going to zero out profits at the end of the year, or I'm going to have negative profits, or negative net assets, I think this is a broken philosophy. Our strongest civic organizations actually have strong balance sheets and investable assets. They own real estate, they invest in the market, and they contribute to their community through their services programs because they have a mindset that every year they want to do better than break even on any grants or any philanthropy that comes through the door. So we need no more philosophies around nonprofits, and we probably don't need a lot of more nonprofits in our community, if I'm just being frank. I think there's opportunities to look at that ecosystem and say, okay, who's doing what? Can I actually exponentially do it better, or should I just collaborate? I can collaborate as a technical assistant and an independent contractor. I can do a lot of different things, but starting a nonprofit is a lofty endeavor, and to the extent that you really want to scale it and make impact, there's probably something out there that's already doing what you're doing it at scale and doing it much better than that you could do it, right? Where we don't have enough stake in the game as black and brown folks is business ownership, for-profit business ownership, right? And there's many industries to exploit as you think about opportunities to actually get into business for yourself and really figure out how you can maximize a profit. So I would say demystify this idea of nonprofits in the sense that they're not making profit. the best nonprofits are highly profitable.
Yes, I can't tell you how many times I talk to folks who are super well-meaning and want to say, hey, I want to create a meeting space in my community. My community doesn't have anywhere that's a meeting space.
Right.
And I say, well, how are you going to make money doing that? And I'm like, believe me, I think what what they're trying to do is great. I want to have more places where you can just have coffee in every neighborhood where there is. But sometimes that just isn't the way, but I'd much prefer being like, well, how can we make you money doing it? What will make you stand out? Is there a different way, a different avenue? I'd also say too, in terms of the SBA 504, I can't help you if you're a nonprofit.
Right.
The grants sometimes, but they're limited. And I think you're always gonna be limited in the type of capital that you can access. I know you said you're with IFF? Okay, yeah, so I mean IFF, like they're like, whenever I have a nonprofit come to me that says they need capital, I'm gonna send them, I'll be honest, I'm gonna send them that way if they can't do for the grants. So, and I think there's always opportunities within your for-profit business to give back.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the caveat,
You're reading my mind.
the caveat to that is social impact organizations, L3Cs, and having a for-profit that goes out there with a real intention to make profit, but then also creating a nonprofit foundation from which you can actually go out and get organizations, businesses, corporate institutions that will contribute to the good that you want to do in the community by way of giving something back and giving something away in a tax write-off perspective, right? So you can't go out and do some of the work that some of the organizations do in terms of food giveaways, and giving away your service for free, because that may impact your for-profit side. But you can think about, how do I create an umbrella of companies, either L3C, social impact, benefit corporations, and/or nonprofit separate arm, in which you can do that good and still go out and solicit from folks to help contribute from a basis where they can write it off from their taxes.